is the dome of the Florence Cathedral created out of thin air? In the late 13th century, Italy was in the midst of the Renaissance. After the Florentine guilds seized power from the nobility, they ambitiously planned to construct a magnificent building in the city as a monument to the Republican government. Thus, a baptistery and a bell tower began construction in the center of Florence with great fervor. Initially, the politicians thought these two buildings would sufficiently highlight the city's uniqueness. However, after 100 years, they realized the baptistery wasn't tall enough, and the bell tower appeared too slender. Florence needed a more grandiose and towering structure. In the early 14th century, the Florentine government decided to build a cathedral. To maintain the quality of the project, they summoned outstanding architects from various countries, intending to select the most ingenious individual as the chief engineer of the cathedral. At that time, a craftsman named Filippo Brunelleschi had just returned to Florence. He was proficient in mechanics, skilled in mathematics and perspective, and had notable achievements in sculpture and arts and crafts. Brunelleschi had long harbored a dream of constructing a building with a massive dome, which he believed represented the pinnacle of aesthetics and would astonish the world. To realize his dream, Brunelleschi went to Rome to study Byzantine, Gothic, and ancient Roman art styles. Given the abundance of domes in Rome, he stayed there for several years, mastering ancient techniques before returning to Florence. In 1420, during a meeting of the Florentine government, Brunelleschi, with his exceptional eloquence and architectural talent, outshone his competitors and was appointed as the chief architect of the cathedral. Naturally, other architects were displeased. One foreign designer, believing himself superior, harbored greed and sought to obtain Brunelleschi's design plans by any means necessary. Brunelleschi, no fool, quickly sensed the plot against him. To protect himself, he employed a clever tactic. He created no drafts and didn't even set up internal scaffolding for the cathedral, intentionally keeping his ideas a secret from his rival. Thanks to this move, an extraordinary building emerged. At the time, Italy was still under the influence of the Catholic Church, which viewed domes as features of pagan temples. If the church had seen Brunelleschi's plans, the entire cathedral project, not just the dome, would have been halted by the authorities. Despite the church's waning influence in Florence, it was still significant, making Brunelleschi's actions incredibly courageous. Moreover, even though ancient Rome and Byzantium used domes extensively, they were not the most crucial design features in architecture. Brunelleschi, however, intended for the cathedral's dome to stand out prominently, making it the highest point in the city. His design embodied the innovative spirit of the Renaissance, creating an unprecedented building but also attracting considerable jealousy. Some architects eventually discovered the dome's design and reported Brunelleschi to the church. As a result, he was imprisoned, and the informants joyfully seized control of the cathedral's construction. However, they soon realized they were at a loss, as there were no blueprints, and they had no idea of Brunelleschi's vision for the cathedral. Consequently, the construction stalled indefinitely. The government had no choice but to release Brunelleschi and reinstate him as the sole overseer of the cathedral's construction. He worked diligently until his final moments. 4 years after his death, the cathedral was finally completed. Brunelleschi was buried beneath the dome, and a statue of him pointing to the center of the dome, his life's masterpiece, was erected at his grave.